Welcome to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a brilliant true crime podcast hosted by two zany sisters, all while baking up delicious treats in their kitchen. Here are your podcast hosts, Karen Devaney and Ann Varner.
Sugar, we're here.
We did it.
We made it.
It took us
Don't talk about
almost 2 hours, an hour and a half to get
it. It's taken us like 2.5 weeks plus 2.5 hours.
Yes.
Because we've been trying to do this forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
What in the world?
But we're here and
we're drinking.
Oh, yes. And I'm sipping for now. But we'll see what happens. So, a little bit of housekeeping.
Oh, housekeeping.
I know. Whilst we were in between episode recordings, we went on a great adventure. Do you remember?
We did.
We did, yes. So we went on a fossil hunt, guys.
Oh my
Here in
goodness.
Charleston. We went with Captain Ashby, and he's from somewhere, Charleston Fossil. I'll put the link in the show notes so y'all can find him, because it was so much fun. We found so many amazing things.
Yes.
Fossils, shark's teeth galore, and he was able, and stingray teeth and dolphin molars.
It's new. Oh,
we had so
a
much.
prehistoric horse too.
Yes, like crazy. A killer dolphin tooth, killer dolphins. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
and they were all like 2 to 8 million years old, or some
So
crazy.
very old.
So anyway, we want you all to, if you live in the Charleston area, you definitely have to go and find Captain Ashby. He is top of the line, creme de la creme. He gives you the greatest experience. You will never forget it, and you walk away with knowledge and fossils.
Treasures.
You get so many treasures.
So many.
Oh my gosh. So we did that.
We did.
We did that. That's one thing that we've done.
I'm sorry they're not photos. I'm sure that would have been very interesting.
I'm sure, but that's not what we do.
These two old hens on the beach looking for
Oh my God.
looking for fossils.
And he had given us these little gardening knee pads. So we're like on the knee pad, and half the time I'm falling off the knee pad, and because I don't have good balance and I can't
And
get
aprons with little
we have
pockets.
aprons that you put your stuff in, and oh God, it was
And then
so
we
much
pick
fun.
something up like, oh my God, look what I found. He'd be like, yeah, that's just a rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and then he'd say, but in this area right here, there's a snaggletooth shark's tooth. A snaggletooth shark, is that what they're called?
Sure.
Something, a tiger, whatever.
It was a snaggletooth.
It was a blah 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 shark tooth, and he'd be like, and it's in this area, and then you're looking and you're looking and you're looking and you're looking, and then he's like, here it is. You blind bat.
Yes.
But
he has
anyway,
a lot of patience.
he has so much patience.
Yeah.
And now you can follow him on Instagram too. I will put his Instagram handles out. I'll follow him now, and he does like what's in Captain Ashby's apron today, and he pulls out like a fossil and he tells you about it. It's really fun.
Oh,
So
it's so fun.
fun for the whole family.
Worth it. And even if you don't live here, but you're thinking about visiting Charleston,
You got to put
You
that
gotta
on
go.
your
It's
bucket
on
list.
list.
It has to be, because he takes you to super secret spots that we can't even tell you where they were, mainly because we don't know where we were,
No,
and we're horrible with directions. So his secret will always be safe with us.
you do travel by boat. So if
We
you're not
do.
a boat person,
Yeah.
get your Dramamine.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad at all.
Put your big girl panties on and get on out there and look at them
Yes,
sharks.
you do. So anyway, make sure you look up Captain Ashby and his fossil,
Yes.
whatever he's called, Charleston Fossil
We're gonna
Adventures
get,
or
don't
something.
get it wrong. We're gonna get
Yeah,
the right
we'll put the right name. We'll just
all the
put it right there, and
information.
we'll tag his Instagram, and then you can go find him and follow him and just put him on your bucket list.
If you're lucky, we'll show you one of our fossils.
What? Oh, I didn't agree to that.
Oh, yeah, well, it's not yours, it's mine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You had I have my wine.
There you go. Keep on drinking,
Yeah.
sister.
Mm,
Uh-oh.
that was a big gulp. It's
That
fun.
was a gulp.
I went to 7-Eleven and got a big gulp of wine. Okay, what are you baking for us today? Because it's your turn in the kitchen.
I know.
My favorite times are when she's in the kitchen.
I'm baking Cruffins. It's a cinnamon roll
Come again?
muffin. A Cruffin.
Cruffins.
Cinnamon roll muffin.
A croissant muffin?
A Cruffin.
So it's a croissant muffin?
Yeah, a cinnamon roll muffin.
Okay, I got it.
Cruffin. Cinnamon roll. CR. Cinnamon roll. Cruffins.
Trying to say croissant
No,
and muffin.
no,
I didn't even get the cinnamon roll starts with the C and
it
R.
does.
I'm not
Cinnamon
good at
roll,
spelling,
cinnamon muffin.
whatever letters are called, phonics, whatever it's called. I'm not too good at that. Not in English anyway, maybe other languages.
Maybe.
So that's exciting. So do you want to tell us about it at all or no?
Well, it's so easy. It takes store-bought crescent rolls and brown sugar, cinnamon, powdered sugar, cream cheese, because you gotta do a little icing on it,
Not a problem.
butter.
Butter makes it better.
Everything's better with butter, and just a little titch of kilo vanilla.
It has to be kilo vanilla or it doesn't work. So if you
Okay.
don't have kilo vanilla, get on it.
Oh, and like a little bit of milk to make that icing.
That much.
Like a little
Just
tiny bit
little
of milk.
bit of milk.
Yeah, and then you roll out your dough, which I did. So I don't have like a fancy mat that I roll things out on. I probably need to get one.
I've got an extra one. I'll give it to you.
Oh, nice score. What I did was did it old school and just measured and put tape on my counter.
That's the same thing.
So, yeah, I measured and put tape on my counter so I know to stay within the lines of the tape. That's how big I roll it out.
I mean, I got no problems with your methods.
Yes. So you're gonna roll it out.
You gotta do it like
You're
this.
gonna Roll it out. You're gonna mix your butter, brown sugar, cinnamon into like a little crumble, and then you're gonna crumble, and then you're gonna roll. Yep. And then you do some other things, and then you twist
Not twist.
into the pan, into
You
the mold.
twist?
You twist and to the pan.
Shut the
Then you
frog
bake,
up.
and then you eat.
Oh, that's my part. Into the pie hole it
That's
goes.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Right into the dumpster.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that in the kitchen. What are you gonna do? You can't just sit here and do nothing.
Well, okay, so there's just been a lot of things in the media lately about the Menendez brothers, and I decided to do a deep dive on them and compare their first trial to their second trial to what happened with their resentencing.
Hmm.
Just kind of let's get it all in one place.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long
Been a long
time.
time
and
since
There were some things that I didn't remember.
It's been a long time. There've been some made for TV
Oh,
specials
yeah.
about it,
I did watch some documentaries. I didn't watch any like
a
made-
docu-series.
I didn't, yeah, I watched docu-series, but I didn't watch like made for TV movies
Yeah.
because I think that adds too much drama.
I
to it.
didn't watch it either.
And
I heard it was really good, but I didn't watch it.
I didn't. But there were things, I remember watching parts of the first trial. I don't remember watching the second trial,
Huh.
but I think by then we were like, we're over it.
Well,
and I
that's a long time
And
ago.
OJ had happened. So I
Yeah.
think we were probably immersed in the OJ trial at that point, and we were like,
We were in our 20s. I was in my 20s. I know back then.
oh, I was in my 30s.
Yeah, I was not focused on trials and what the heck is happening way across the country in California.
Yeah,
I was focused on
surviving every day.
waiting tables and drinking. That's what I was doing in my 20s.
Yeah, I already had a baby.
Yeah, she was super cute.
She was super cute. She's still super cute when she wants to be. So anyway, one other thing I wanted to do, I wanted to give a shout out to a person.
Mm.
Her name is Carrie. And I can't say her last name, nor can I say how I know her.
Oh,
But I'm gonna say, hey, Carrie, if you're watching, you'll know. And if you're not watching,
you won't know.
I'll know. Okay. That's all.
Okay.
Well, you want to get to getting?
I'm gonna go in there and do my thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you sit here and do your thing.
I'm gonna. You ready to roll?
Yeah, it's gonna be loud though.
What's gonna be loud?
I gotta do the mix up.
That's fine. Just tell me when you're about to flip it on and I'll pause. And then when you flip it off, I'll keep going. All right, so let's review. Menendez.
Okay.
August 20th of 1989, Jose and Kitty Menendez were found dead from shotgun blasts. Gruesome crime scene. Lyle, 21, and Eric, 18. Their teenage sons burst into the TV room of their parents' Beverly Hills mansion and opened fire. They hit Jose 6 times and they hit Kitty 10 times.
Whoa, 6 times?
Yeah,
Wow, that's a lot.
they meant it. So, and it was not a semi-automatic weapon. This is a shotgun. They probably had 2 shells and then had to pump it or had to reload it. I mean, it was not, it's not like they were spraying them with AR, whatever those are.
Oh, right.
AR.
Oh, geez.
What are they, 50s?
Sure.
The ARs. That's what I'm saying, the
They
ARs.
weren't using automatic rifles. They were doing like
ARs, 6,
shotguns.
5, 1, 51.
Listen, you're up to the track.
115. It's the AR-15.
There you go. She got it.
Oh, that was really hard. Did y'all just see the steam coming off my hand? So anyway, they dumped their shotguns and their bloody clothes, and they went and stopped at
Oh, excuse me.
a Santa Monica. That's not easy.
No.
Food fair in an effort to stage an alibi. And then they returned home and placed a frantic 911 call saying they had discovered the massacred bodies of their parents. In the weeks that followed, detectives tried to make sense of this gruesome, chaotic crime scene. It was
Crazy, right?
horrible. Yes. I mean, close range shotgun blasts.
Wow.
On October of 1989, Eric, the younger of the 2, confessed to the family therapist, which I question why they have a family therapist. Whatever. That doesn't escape me. I mean, the family therapist. I'm not going to say his name because I don't particularly think he's a very ethical person.
All right.
But anyway, he confessed to the therapist that he and Lyle had actually killed their parents. And Lyle later corroborated, I knew I shouldn't have written that word.
Oh, that's a good word.
Corroborated the story.
Nailed it.
By December of 89, this therapist had talked them into letting him capture their confession on tape.
Oh, what?
On that tape, there was no mention of self-defense or sexual abuse.
Uh-oh.
By March of 1990, police had arrested Lyle and Eric for the premeditated murder of both of their parents.
Yeah.
So in the months between when they killed the parents in August and their arrest in March, the boys made some purchases
Oh, what
because they had money out the wazoo to burn. They purchased a couple of Rolex watches, a very, very shiny Porsche. They had hired a sports pro manager because I think it was Lyle wanted to be a professional tennis player.
Oh.
And they had taken at least one overseas trip. So they were having a good time.
They were living life high.
They were living life and they were partying. They were throwing some really big parties. They were doing their thing. They're also 18 and 21 years old. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that A, they were irresponsible with their money, and B, they were partying.
Right.
Do you need me to pause or
That's as loud as it's gonna get.
I can talk past it? Because after all, we are a cooking show.
We
But
are
it's
baking.
actually a noise that we're pretending is a baking. So, July of 1993, LA judge ordered 2 separate juries for the trial.
Two separate?
Same trial, 2 juries, one for Eric and one for Lyle.
Really?
I didn't realize that. I didn't remember it. I don't know if I realized it back then, but I didn't remember. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so he decided that certain confessions and evidence could unfairly taint one brother's case from another because you've got one boy confessing to stuff and one boy not necessarily voluntarily confessing.
Right.
So he decided it needed to be 2 juries, and the trial was covered live on Court TV.
Ooh, nice. We didn't even know about Court TV back in 1989.
I don't think we did. How did we watch it?
It must have been on the nightly news, but
It must have been.
I mean, I graduated from
remember
high school in 87, so
right.
89, I was not focused on the Menendez brothers.
March of 1990, when they got arrested, I was very, very pregnant.
Yeah.
About to pop open and bring forth a child into the world.
Oh my goodness.
So I may not have been paying good attention.
Yeah, I mean,
at what was
saw it.
happening. Maybe. I do remember watching OJ, parts of the OJ trial, and especially the verdict.
Well, the OJ trial, they broadcast on TV.
I think it was like on regular ABC
It
or
was.
whatever, because they stopped the soap operas, and there
Is
were
that
times
what
when I was
y'all
like,
watched?
let me watch my soap opera entire.
I watched it on my lunch break at work.
Yeah, there was a TV in the lab where I worked, and I didn't work in the lab, but I could go in there and watch it here and there during work. So anyway, the prosecution painted the motive as simple, cold, calculated greed over the nearly $15 million estate that that the boys were going to inherit by killing both of their parents.
$15 million estate back in 1990. That's a lot of money.
And so the prosecution is saying the reason they killed their mom is because if she had stayed alive, they wouldn't have gotten the estate. They had to kill her too.
Okay.
So that's what the prosecution said. The defense argued something that was completely different. They said that Eric and Lyle were afraid for their lives. They portrayed years of psychological and sexual abuse by their father. The brothers even took the stand admitting the shooting, but insisting it was self-defense because they feared Jose would eventually kill them.
Oh my.
And they unveiled horrifying details of the disgusting abuse they had suffered under their dad, and they believed that their mother knew about it.
Oh, gosh.
So that was really difficult testimony to watch. I can tell you I've seen excerpts from that stand, the trial, and when Eric specifically was on the stand, it was heart-wrenching. And I know a lot of people thought that he was faking it, but I don't think he faked that.
Right.
Like, I can tell you that it's gut-wrenching when you listen and watch him talk about, I mean, the shame, the cloak of shame that you can almost physically see envelop him when he's talking about it it's just so sad.
Right.
And it's very tragic. And so I believed the sexual abuse. So they also talked about why they killed their mom. Part of it was they felt like she was going to be miserable without their dad. And so they just, because she was so codependent on him,
Oh.
which is why they were saying she knew about the abuse and didn't do anything to stop it because she was so codependent on the dad.
Right.
So they said, we killed her to put her out of her misery.
Oh, wow.
Because she's not going to adjust to life if Jose is not around to tell her what to do every day.
Will you tell me their ages again? It was 21 and
18.
18.
Yeah.
So brains are not fully
developed, especially in boys. Let's just put that out
But
there.
that's an interesting way to think, right?
Yeah, I agree. It is an interesting way.
Oh, my dad, let's just throw mom in because she's gonna be super sad.
Well, and it also makes you think, is there an emotion you're not in touch with that says you knew about this and so you have to be punished too? Like, you have to wonder, but
I
they didn't
wonder
bring that
about
up.
the family therapist that's
God.
letting all of this happen. What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, if he's such a great family therapist, what the heck's he been doing for 20 years? Like, why you got a family therapist and what's his function? So anyway, the testimony was gut-wrenching and very intimate and very raw, very difficult to watch. And of course, the prosecution claimed the boys were lying, and it was all an act. The trial lasted from July of 1993 to January of 1994. That's a long trial.
Wow, that is a long trial.
And it ended in not one, but two hung juries. Both of those juries who deliberated separately came back hung, which I think is really interesting.
Both of them.
Both of them were deadlocked and said, there's no way we will ever reach a decision. We can't get there.
That's crazy.
So a mistrial was called, which is, that's typical court proceedings. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that
Both of
them were deadlocked and said, there's no way we will ever reach a decision.
Wow.
Both juries came back deadlocked, even though they were, what was I telling you? I mean, they both reviewed the case separately.
Right.
whatever.
They were deadlocked, but it
Yeah.
was two separate juries that came up with that conclusion independently. Well, I've gotten flour all over the floor. Things aren't going well over here.
Things aren't going well anywhere. It's just been one of those weird Fridays.
I know it.
Anyway, so the second trial ended up being in August of 95 and lasted until March of 96. So another long trial, but a very different trial. And I'm going to go over the difference between the first trial and the second trial.
Okay,
Okay. In the first trial, there were two separate juries, one for each brother.
right,
In the second trial, there was one jury for both brothers.
okay.
So that's way different.
That is way different.
Television coverage. The first trial was fully televised, massive media circus. Court TV had it on. All different news stations were there. It was like a media circus. The second, this is why I don't remember the second trial. No cameras were allowed.
Oh, interesting.
None. So, and the judge really cracked down on the access that the media had at all.
Right,
So the abuse allegations. In the first trial, the core of the defense was extensive details on sexual abuse, right?
right.
Second trial, sexual abuse was allowed only in limited testimony from the brothers themselves, with no experts allowed to talk about sexual abuse.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And, okay, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Okay. So third party testimony, we had in the first trial, we had experts, we had family, we had friends, relatives testified about the family abuse that they witnessed themselves of these two boys.
Right,
And the second trial, that kind of talk and those kind of witnesses were barred, and it was severely limited, and it was tagged as hearsay or prejudicial
oh,
if anybody talked about the abuse.
interesting.
Yeah. So the first trial, they went on the premise of the battered child syndrome, which is like the battered wife syndrome. We didn't really have a battered child syndrome back then,
Right,
but we had battered wife syndrome that was kind of peeking its way into existence.
right.
But the judge said, we're not going to recognize that as a legal or medical defense. It's not a diagnosis.
Oh.
You
the
can't
second
say
one-
that they're battered, they were under battered wife syndrome because they weren't battered wives.
Ah.
So we completely ignored the fact that these boys had lived in a house of trauma and terror pretty much all of their lives.
Right,
We just ignored that in the second trial. Yeah, the judge said, well, you can't use battered wife because it's not like they were married to their parents.
Oh my goodness.
No, but you're raised in a house, you can't leave when you're like, you don't have the wherewithal as a 6-year-old to leave.
Sorry, there was an explosion
It was
of
an
dough.
explosion.
It's fine.
Oh, that's scary.
Sorry,
She had been
just
shot.
no.
Evidently, it was just some dough.
Listen, I'll tell you right this minute, I've made these before. The first time around, I bought a name brand
Uh-oh.
instant roll. The second time around, I bought store bought.
You bought cheap ass.
Cheap ass, and the cheap ass is not.
Not working out as well as store brand. So,
Well, that's a crying shame.
well, that's
That's a note for our viewers.
That is a note.
Decide they want to make this.
We'll put a little asterisk that says, don't eat a cheap
use
ass.
cheap ass.
Okay, so, all right, we're gonna talk about the prosecution strategy.
Okay.
They argued in the first trial, it was premeditated.
Oh, do you know if it was the same prosecutors or did they bring on new prosecutors? Because I know sometimes that happens.
I think it was, I don't know.
Oh, it was a trick question I threw at you. Sorry.
I know it was the same defense
Okay.
counsel, but I don't know if it was the same prosecution. I will have to look that up and I will stick it in our notes to answer that question.
Thanks.
So the first trial, of course, the prosecution argued that it was premeditated for murder. Okay.
Right.
The second trial, they had the same argument, but the defense couldn't push back on that notion because they were so limited in what they could talk about. So they couldn't say it wasn't premeditated. It was trauma driven. You know, they knew it was going to happen, but they didn't know when it was going to happen. Right. The defense didn't have any wiggle room to really discount that notion. So the first trial, the tone was emotional, dramatic. It was focused on the trauma of everything. It was like really, like I said, it was gut-wrenching. It was so emotional. And the second trial was very clinical, focused on facts in the timeline. That was pretty much it. And the jury in the second trial never heard the full depth of the abuse that was presented in the first trial.
Right.
So there was no way to humanize these brothers. There was no way to say these brothers are bonded in tragedy and in trauma. Like there was nothing that they could do to pull back the layers that the prosecution was laying on there.
Right.
They just didn't have any wiggle room. So the story ended up just defaulting to these were cold-blooded killers who just wanted money. That's it. That's the bottom line of the trial. So we just completely skipped over the abuse and the family members, the countless experts and family members that got on the stand in the first trial that said these boys show signs of extensive childhood abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, coercive, everything.
Right.
They couldn't talk about it. So what were they supposed to do? Just every time the prosecution said it was premeditated, they just were like, no, it wasn't.
Right.
But they couldn't back it up with anything.
Yeah.
So the outcome of the first trial, we know, hung jury. Second trial, guilty of first-degree murder with special circumstances, and they were each sentenced to 2 life sentences, no parole, consecutive.
Okay.
Which means, let's review, consecutive means you serve your sentence and then you serve the next sentence.
Right.
Right, not you serve them together. That's that other thing.
That's a lot.
What is that called? Everybody's yelling right now at their speaker.
What do you mean?
It's not consecutive, it's
Concurrent?
concurrent. That's the one. So anyway, not consecutive. So anyway,
So it was concurrent, not consecutive.
no, it was consecutive. It was
consecutive.
not concurrent.
Gotcha.
So, right. So life with no parole consecutively means you have to live your whole life and die, come back from the dead and live your whole life again and die.
Yeah.
And then you'll get out of prison.
There you go.
So we're going to talk about what's been happening behind bars and how people are viewing this through a different lens, because now we're in the 2000s and we're in the 2020s.
Yeah.
And we might know a thing or two about child abuse, childhood trauma. You know, it's an accepted idea that fathers abuse their sons.
Right.
Like for the longest time, people were like, that doesn't happen.
Right.
So, for the next few decades from prison, Lyle earned a sociology degree and he operated some prison programs. Eric married a pen pal.
Oh, wow. How about that?
That's right. And they both engaged in inmate rehabilitation programs.
Okay.
At first, they were separated. When they were sentenced to prison, they just didn't even realize that it was possible for them to go to separate prisons. They were caught off guard when they were sent to. They thought they were going to be together because they had been waiting for the trial in jail together. So now the prison sentence comes down and they're taken to 2 separate jails, which this is a bonded pair, right?
Right.
And so they've split them up, which is going to cause a little bit more trauma. So like I said, at first they were sent to separate prisons. Eventually they did get housed together in San Diego.
Okay.
So meantime, the case became a powerhouse moneymaker. Netflix dramas, Peacock documentaries, endless amounts of print and media stories. Baba Wawa actually interviewed them. They were in People magazine, not once, more than once. They were in People magazine. They were like, they were studied almost in the media. So in October of 2024, the Menendez brothers were actually granted a resentencing hearing, which unfolded on May 13th, not too long ago, 2025.
Right.
The prosecution argued because of the lavish lifestyles the brothers adopted post-murder, pre-arrest, negates any claim to self-defense. I don't think so. If I kill the monster in my life, I'm probably going to celebrate. I'm not going to go, especially if I'm a kid, I'm going to celebrate that. I am not going to go live in the dark anymore. I'm going to be like, oh, listen, nobody can hurt me anymore. It's time to live my life the way that I've wanted to. But that's not, they took that to say, oh, well, if you're living this lifestyle, then it couldn't have been self-defense. So the attorneys of the brothers focused more on what rehabilitation looks like for them in prison, and the fact that while in the prison, psychologists have diagnosed both of them with depression and anxiety that has stemmed from childhood trauma. They've never displayed violent tendencies while incarcerated, neither one of them, not violent. So you would think if this was something that they had a tendency for, that would follow them into places like prison where it's high stress.
Right.
And your life is.
But it's not like you're getting any kind of therapy in prison.
No, you're not getting therapy, and you're like, you've got to survive it. You've got to figure out how to survive this on your own.
Right.
So if somebody picks on you, you got to figure out what you're going to do about that.
Right.
So, but they've never been cited for any violent tendencies whatsoever the whole time they've been in prison, which I think is, I'm impressed with that. I can't say that would happen to me. They'd be like, well, there was one incident where she threw her eggs at that girl, or put, spiders.
Hairbrush.
Yes.
That was her thing in high school, throwing the hairbrush across the room.
Yes, I would throw hairbrushes. I definitely threw a lot of hair, and curling irons. I threw a lot of curling irons in my day. I would, my room opened up on the landing of the steps, and then right past the landing were the steps that was like, down there. It was like the steps coming up, and there was many days that I would chuck my hairbrush. It would hit the brick wall, which is where the chimney was, and it would smash in pieces and then drop onto the stairs in a very dramatic way. And
You just knew on certain days to watch before you walked. Listen carefully before you walked up those stairs.
It was probably any day of the week, but mostly school days. High stress. I had to get my hair right, and I'm still trying to get my hair right. I still can't get it right. It's awful. I think I gave up a long time ago. So anyway, back to the brothers. So in 2023, a former member of the band Menudo, how you say them?
Yeah.
Menudo. So Jose Menendez represented those boys. That's how he made a lot of his money. He represented boy bands.
I had no idea.
Yes. And one of those band members came out in 2023 and said, as a teenager, Jose Menendez drugged him and raped him.
Oh my word.
And so this kind of, there's that word again, corroborated. I hate that word.
You're doing good with it.
Thanks. He corroborated the allegations of sexual abuse with the boys. And he said, not only was he able to say, yes, he did this, but he took me to his home, drugged me, and he was able to look at different pictures and pick out what pictures were the house and inside the house. Like he was able to like really lay it down to say this, I'm proving to you that this really happened. And also we still have family members out there, family members that were blood relatives of Jose, who came out and said he was an evil man.
Oh no.
Most of us did not mess with him because he was so short-tempered and he was very violent.
Oh no.
And we just kept our distance, but we did witness him of physically abusing the boys.
Right.
From like 4 years old in front of people, and didn't like, it's not like he was trying to hide it.
Right.
So one of the things that he did, I think, to Eric was he had a broom or a bar or something that he held up, and this 4-year-old kid had to hang from this bar for a certain amount of time, and if he dropped, he got beat with a belt.
Oh no.
So like this is something that he did in front as punishment in front of other relatives. He didn't care.
Oh my gosh.
So this guy comes through, and then there was another letter that surfaced where Eric had actually written to a cousin before the murders describing the abuse that he was suffering at home by his dad.
Right,
So it's not like he just made it up on the stand.
right.
It was something that he had said, listen, this has been happening to me and I need to tell somebody, and you're a trusted person in my life.
Right.
So let's get to resentencing in 2025.
Okay.
Okay. This is titled Remorse, Retribution, or Redemption.
Woo!
What R word are we going with today?
Right. Oh.
So October 2024, the Menendez brothers were granted a resentencing hearing, which unfolded, like I said, May 13th, 2025. The prosecution argued about the fact that it could not have been self-defense because they spent all this money. The lawyers of the brothers focused on what they've done in prison and the fact that they've been diagnosed with childhood trauma from prison. And at the hearing, multiple family members took the stand in support of the brothers. They had cousins of Lyle and Eric that spoke of the good sons working in prison and they were in hospice programs, like volunteering in hospice programs with some of the prisoners that were dying. They participated in beautification programs where they would go and, plant things to help beautify the prison.
Right.
So these family members begged the judge to consider what the boys had done in prison and how they are not the same people that they were than when they entered prison. But then we've had some other relatives that have come out and said, mostly relatives on Kitty's side, have said those boys are evil and they need to stay behind bars. So there were two different camps in the family.
Right.
For sure. So during the hearing, the judge repeatedly referred to the murders as absolutely horrific. So you're thinking, okay, he's leaning towards keeping them in there, right? Because he's like, this is a horrible crime, and the crime scene was horrific, and the murder was horrific, and horrific. He loves the word horrific. He also acknowledged, though, that something remarkable had occurred in the 3 decades of incarceration, and that's that the men before him had changed. So, the defense attorneys spent their time in this hearing pointing out that the brothers earned multiple college degrees, worked as caregivers for the elderly incarcerated individuals in hospice, and had been mentors in college programs
Nice.
to other prisoners. So they're spending their time wisely. They're not just playing pinochle. Is that something that people play in prison? I think they play pinochle or whatever they play in prison.
I've heard of a lot of things, but pinochle might not be one.
What about canasta? Do you think they do that?
I don't.
What is it? Like Crazy Eights and Go Fish?
I don't know.
I feel like their card games are very advanced.
I think they're playing poker.
You think they're playing poker?
I think they're
And they're,
gambling.
and you think that they're like gambling with their comic?
Yes.
Damn. Okay. So in the end, the brothers' sentences were reduced to 50 years to life under California's youthful offender statute, meaning Lyle and Eric Menendez, who are now 57 and 54 years old.
Wow.
They
They're
could,
young.
I know, they got the rest of their lives ahead of them. I mean, they can still father children.
Yeah, they could.
So they could be eligible for parole once each has served their 25 years.
Oh, nice.
Defense attorneys noted the brothers were visibly moved when this happened.
Visibly moved.
They were visibly moved. They were not stoic. They were visibly moved. They had tears and they were smiling.
Smiling and tears.
Smiling through their tears.
Wow.
Yes. But the judge reminded them this is not freedom.
No.
Not yet. But he said the law left him no choice if he found the brothers suitably rehabilitated. So it was a historic turn. The Menendez brothers, once doomed to die in prison, now have a legal path out. What do you think? What do you think of this?
I think, how many years have they spent in prison? They were in the 90s, 25,
35 years.
35 years.
Yeah. Which meant they've
It's hard.
served more than half of their new 50-year sentence.
Right. So, I mean,
but it's 50 years to life,
right.
but they're going to be eligible for parole.
I know there are a lot of people that are on the bandwagon. I'm probably going to make a lot of enemies with this opinion, but
Controversy is good for the podcast.
I know. The fact of the matter is, there's a way to deal with trauma that doesn't involve murdering your parent.
I agree.
So you have to.
But
If
were
that's
those
what-
resources available in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s?
I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, there are a lot of people that killed people in the 80s and 90s that are spending the rest of their life in jail.
Yes, they are.
So, I mean, just because these guys were rich or
And
whatever,
I don't believe that the youthful offender law applies to them because they were 18 and 21. So I thought the youthful offender law was for minors that were
18. It's 18, and I thought it was 18. Is it 21?
I don't know.
I thought it was 18. There's
Right,
a whole
so
show
then-
on that.
Right. So then
too.
Eric would have qualified under that, but not Lyle.
Right. I don't know. I just, yeah, great. They went into prison and great. They rehabbed. I just am torn about the whole, should they really serve their life sentence or not?
But did they get a fair trial the second time around?
Sure, yeah,
You
They
think
got-
so?
yeah.
Even though none of the abuse was allowed to be talked
Why
about.
wasn't it allowed?
That judge said it wasn't
But
allowed because
that-
they didn't qualify for battered wife syndrome.
But that judge was following the letter of the law. Otherwise, they would have won an appeal.
Right, but back then the law was different. We looked at abuse, childhood abuse as completely different as when we look at
I understand your point. I do. I really do understand your point. But I also think there are people in prison that murdered people who were abused as children that are still in prison. They just aren't as rich and famous as the Menendez brothers, so they didn't get the focused attention that the Menendez brothers have been given. I think it's great they've been rehabbed. I'm not saying no, I don't think they should get out. I just think I need to think about it some more.
Yeah,
because
I don't have
really
an opinion. I actually don't have an
I'm on
opinion
the
on
fence
this.
about it.
Right, because
I
I
don't know.
go back and forth.
Listening to some of the things that the district attorney said in his press conference he does not believe that they are rehabilitated to the point that they
Can be let out into
can
society.
be let out into society. So, and he knows more things than we know, right?
Well, he does, but isn't it his job to keep them in prison?
Why? How does it benefit him to keep them in prison?
That's what prosecution does.
But he's just the district attorney. He's just trying to keep the streets safe. That's their role, but he's not getting paid to keep the Menendez brothers.
No, he's not. But when you're a district attorney, you're a prosecutor. You're a head
No,
head
I
prosecutor.
know.
And the prosecution would, of course, want to keep them in prison. They put them in prison to begin with.
He stands by.
He stands
ruling.
by the ruling. So,
But again, I'm on the fence about it. I don't think that I know enough information, but I'm not one of the people on the bandwagon that's like, yay, let him out.
I think that there needs to be some severe scrutiny given to this case before they just let them out.
Yeah, and they certainly need to be like on parole for the rest of their lives.
I completely agree.
I
But
don't
you
think
know
they
what
should
that
just walk
means?
out and be free
It
now.
means nothing.
Well, in certain places it means something.
We
Depends
see
on where they
examples
are.
of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the problem is it,
That's just my opinion. I'm just a small town girl.
so your opinion is you don't really have an opinion yet.
My opinion is I'm not sold.
Okay. Okay. I
I
get
guess
it.
that's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not sold yet.
You're not sold yet. Yeah. And
Murder is murder is murder is murder.
I agree. And if I look at the family of Kitty, who is like, listen, I get it if you needed to kill your dad, but why'd you have to kill your mom?
Right.
And they're like, she wasn't just collateral damage. She was a wife and she was your mother,
Right. And for all they knew, she could have been abused as well. They just didn't, they may not have known. Moms are very good at hiding things. So
absolutely.
I don't know. I really love that you did a deep dive on it because it has been a hot topic in the news.
Yeah, and I would love to hear from our listeners on what your opinion is after hearing this and seeing, what's happening. So there will be a parole board hearing to decide if they can safely rejoin society. How crazy would it be if they let one out, not the other?
Oh my.
I mean, that would be wild, right?
I guess so.
Because they're so bonded.
Right.
They
Are
remind me
bonded
of,
for the right reason? It may be healthier for them to be out.
I agree. Well, they have lived separate lives. There's no question. But at the same time, I can see where they would have been bonded if the abuse allegations are true. They were bonded in a very protective way of each other.
Right.
But I don't know that bond is a healthy bond.
Yeah.
I think that they should, if they get out, they should have to live in separate states.
You can't be family anymore.
You can't be family. You can't keep in touch with each other.
Right.
So anyway, they're
the
still in custody.
All of it is don't murder. Just don't.
I mean, that is the bottom line. There
Don't
is a bottom line to it. So I want to go through just a little timeline with you.
Oh, good. Let's do it.
All right. So we have 96 through 2000. These were what I call the early years of prison. And they both get convicted. They're sent into the California state prison system. But by the late 90s, they were in different institutions. Eric was at Folsom Prison, which is where Johnny Cash sang his song. I wonder if Eric had to sing that song like every day.
Right.
Like Folsom Prison Blues, like that. Those prisoners should have to sing that every day, like the national anthem.
Yes. Yes.
I agree. And then Lyle was at a place called Mule Creek State Prison.
Oh.
So in 99, the brothers had exhausted all of their appeals in both state and federal courts. And in the meantime, Eric meets and marries Tammy Sackerman in the waiting room of Folsom State Prison, something I do not agree with.
What? They met in the waiting room? Why was he in the waiting room?
No, they got married in the waiting room.
How did they meet?
I don't know. They were pen pals. She wrote to him in prison on that prison pen pal. Like, gag me with a spoon already. I mean, that's gross. I'm sorry, but there's just like people that do that are weird. Sorry. If y'all are one of those, you're weird. I mean, I can't help it, but you're weird. So anyway, on the same day that the judge sentenced them, Lyle actually married a fellow inmate, Anna Erickson.
What?
In a small chapel in the jail. So they were in, when you're.
I don't understand. How are they?
So when you're waiting for your trial and throughout the trial, you're in a jail. You're not in a prison.
And it's mixed.
It's mixed. Yeah. So he met Anna.
Thanks.
And he married her.
Yeah, something.
And then Eric gets married in 99. And Tammy said that their wedding cake was a Twinkie.
A Twinkie?
That they got out of the vending machine.
Interesting.
I know. So, and then she didn't get a conjugal visit after that. I don't know what she was expecting.
Oh.
So in 2001, Eric divorces his wife, Anna. But then he marries Rebecca Sneed in Mule Creek State Prison. They had known each other about a decade before the wedding. I don't know how they knew each other.
Yeah.
I think it's another one of those weird, like, prison pen pal situations that I don't agree with.
Right.
So, and then in 2005, Eric's wife publishes a memoir and gives TV interviews about life with Eric. But it's not life with Eric, it's life without Eric because he's in prison.
Right.
So they also give in October of 2005, she gives a People interview where she described visiting him weekly. She was driving 150 miles each way and said, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Her young daughter affectionately called Eric Earth Dad.
What?
Like
Earth Dad.
Red flag, weirdo.
Earth Dad.
Earth Dad. That's my Earth Dad. No, that's your prison dad.
Oh, no.
That's what you should call him. The prison dad, not the earth dad.
That's crazy.
So, Eric actually told People magazine that Tammy is what gets me through my sentencing. Thinking about the murder case makes me break into a cold sweat, and I do it with great sadness and a primal fear. It's so frightening. I just haven't come to terms with the murder yet. This was in 2005, and he murdered his parents in what, 89?
Yeah.
He's still trying to get over it? Dude,
Wow.
you need to get over it.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry. I almost dropped the whole world. It's fine. Everybody's okay. So anyway, prison records and news accounts offer very little detail about the day-to-day activities, except when you talk to their wives.
Oh, right.
So they have the same accesses that normal prisoners have to different programs, chapel programs, work assignments, nothing really specific. They're just average prisoners.
Right.
They're just going through and trying to live their life as best they can. They like to keep a low profile.
Yeah.
And then neither brothers have ever landed in solitary confinement or faced any report of violent incidences over 3 decades. I'm telling you, that's a bunch. I don't think I can go 3 decades without a violent incident.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
No, I was violent just yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was violent on the way here. So, anyway, here, I'm going to get you on camera.
Oh.
My God. It's over. Guys, look at this. Woo!
Well, let's talk about that.
Well, let me finish my stuff.
Finish,
Just
yeah.
let me finish, and then we'll just okay. So, okay, Eric. So Tammy is married to Eric, right?
Right.
And she is still like a big fan of his, and she still stands by him and keeps in touch with him and all that kind of stuff. She even wrote a book about their life. Hello, cha-ching.
Do you think it sold a lot?
I don't know, but why else would you write a book about my life with Eric Menendez?
Well, yeah, to make money, obviously,
Yeah.
but I just wondered how it did.
Maybe she put that money in his commissary. I don't know.
Really nice.
It would be really nice, and
Or
she should
for
be
his
sharing
legal fund.
something.
Yeah.
Something, because he's in prison and he needs money,
Right,
but he can't make money off the victims. Like, you can't make money off your victims.
right.
So, she can though. She
Maybe
can make money off of his
Is she
victim.
the pen pal one?
She's the pen pal.
Well, then I think she might be smart.
Yes. None of the brothers don't have any children, which is good to know, except for that one weirdo kid that calls him Earth Dad. And that's not the kid's fault. That is totally the mom's fault. That kid needs to probably be taken away from the mom. I can't help it.
Stop.
It's a special kind of a weirdo
No,
that does this.
we don't judge.
Well, I do judge.
No,
I judge. I mean, we are not supposed to judge, but judging.
it is hard.
So anyway,
You're my earth sister.
you're my Earth Dad. That's my Earth Dad. That's so
Your
weird.
earth dad killed people. How do
Hey,
you feel
Earth
about
Dad.
that?
Hey, Earth Dad, I brought you a Twinkie from a vending machine. Yeah, like, I brought you a fresh pair of socks. Hey, Earth Dad.
We're gonna get in trouble.
Happy Earth Day, Dads. Father's Day, Earth Day, Father's Day, Earth Dad, Father's Day.
Oh, man.
I mean, when do you celebrate that? On Earth Day or on Father's Day?
Right.
I would think you would celebrate your Earth Dad on Earth Day.
You should
Yeah.
not do either of those.
And don't
things.
give him a tie. He'll use it to hang. That was so mean.
bad.
But I'm leaving it in.
That's now you have to be punished. You're going to solitary confinement now.
So it says in here that the brothers have had little contact with surviving relatives, but it's weird because their relatives have all gone to the hearings to say,
What did
Let
that
them out.
when did that come out? Whatever you're looking at there, do you have any idea? Because maybe it was that way when that was published, but now it's
I mean, it just talks about since they've been in prison.
right.
So I don't know. But they have written to various attorneys and friends,
Okay.
but no other sensational letters.
Okay.
So there was the letter that Lyle wrote. And I think he wrote it to the attorney, not to the attorney, to the
The cousin.
Therapist.
Therapist.
The family therapist. So I think that letter was found in his confessing to
Okay.
everything. I think that was found maybe in his cell, but he feels very responsible because he says, if I had kept my mouth shut, my brother and I would not have been in prison, especially my brother. Like he feels like it was his fault that his brother went to prison.
Hmm.
So, whatever. I mean,
one thing that the parole boards really do like to hear is that you've taken responsibility for your actions.
yeah,
So rather than I feel bad that I sent my brother to jail, how about I feel really bad that I murdered my parents? Despite the
I agree.
circumstance.
I don't know that they've said that. I don't know that they've actually come out and said, I'm really sorry. But, Eric has said, when I remember this, I still feel primal fear. So
I'm sure PTSD forever.
the crime scene would be enough to give you PTSD.
Yeah,
Knowing that you did that.
yeah.
Like I done did
I
that.
done did it.
I done did
I
that.
can't undo
Like,
it.
oh Lord, I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. So anyway, so Eric has expressed fear and remorse.
All right, remorse is a good thing.
He confessed to People magazine that
Trout
living
is
life
so-
sentence
Trout is, I see. Trout is
Gives him-
concerned about
gives
birth down.
him, I don't care.
You don't care about Trout?
I don't care about what he's thinking.
Um,
Not today, because
So
I'm drinking
mean.
wine.
that's mean.
It's just because I'm drinking wine. It makes me just not give a shit about anything.
Well, then you can't have any more wine.
I like it. I like this. I don't give a shit. It felt good. So anyway, so he likes to paint. He does art.
Right.
He does a lot of art. So he does a lot of art with that portrays like the abuse and stuff that he went through. I don't think
Interesting.
graphically, but I think metaphorically.
Right.
Look at that big word.
There are a lot of
Between
prisoners.
corroborated and
They're
metaphorical.
on a roll.
I could pass an SAT right now, I'm just saying. So, yeah, the rest of this is just like the prison psychologists have said they both have symptoms of depression and anxiety, but they were never diagnosed with a psychosis.
Right.
So they're not mentally ill, they're just mental. Was a huge difference. Like they're mentally impacted. Dude, that's
Ew,
like they're
that's
constipated.
That's really weird. I think I like that one.
I don't like impacted. That's
No.
constipated. They're mentally constipated. They got, well, I wouldn't be able to poop in prison. You gotta poop in front of God and everybody.
You have to. You can't just not poop forever.
But wouldn't you be impacted? At least the first 2 weeks you were there, and then eventually it's like I can't even control this. I gotta go.
Look at here. Look at here.
I have to
Let me tell
poo.
you something. If you're going to do the crime, you got to do the time. And part of the time is poo-pooing in front of people.
I can't take it.
So
I
think
cannot
about that
take that.
before you decide.
I agree. If you're gonna
I was going to kill you, but then I realized I couldn't poo-poo in front of people. So
people, I can't have a poo audience. So I'm not going to kill you. I'm not even going to maim you.
that's right.
I'm not. I'm walking away from this argument right now because I cannot poo in public.
Exactly.
My God.
Let that be a lesson.
Listen, don't, if you can't do the poo, don't do the crime.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. So, I feel
That's it.
like I've exhausted this. I will say that, there's been marriages and divorces. There's been pen pals and support. There's been People magazine and 48 Hours and Dateline and Barbara Wawa and all these things.
Right.
But the bottom line is these two kids killed their parents.
That's what they did.
And were they incorrectly convicted? Were they incorrectly sentenced? What's the deal? I don't know. I would love to hear people's opinions, especially if you're an attorney. Come on, guys. There's going to be one attorney out there. There's one in Tennessee. Remember her?
Oh,
we can't
yeah.
say her name.
No.
But she works for like an important place.
Yeah, I'm
in
sure
Tennessee.
she's exhausted by us.
She's probably like, I stopped listening to her years ago.
No, I cannot. I cannot.
All right, so they're still in jail. That's the bottom line. They're still in jail as of May of 2025. And guess what? It's May of 2025.
It is.
So they're still there.
Darn near the end.
Yeah. So
Very interesting.
yeah, I
Thank
have
you
a
for the
timeline that I've done.
Yeah, we heard it.
No. What I'm saying is I can put this timeline on our
like in our show notes?
so people can see.
There are
what
going to
the
be some
timeline
very
was.
lengthy show notes.
Well, that's all good for SEO.
Who?
Exactly. Search engine. That's the one. When I read one, I drop syllables. It's no big deal. Search engine optimization.
SEO.
SEO.
Okay,
Yeah, it's good for your SEO to have lots of words.
there you go.
Yeah.
Good for
Guys, we're gonna eat some damn cruffins.
We are.
Are they called cruffins?
Yes.
I looked it up, by the way,
26?
California, the law is,
Under 26?
individuals convicted of a controlling offense, the longest term offense committed when they were under 26 years old are the people who are eligible, and it is for people, a specific type of parole for individuals who committed crimes as juveniles or young adults, offering a chance for release based on their age and potential rehabilitation, because it acknowledges that younger individuals may have less impulse control and a diminished capacity to understand the consequences of their actions compared to adults.
You heard it from our behind the scenes producer.
There you go.
You done heard it.
Done
Or
her.
if you didn't done heard it, it's 26. That's what the 26 and under is what the youth offender resentencing law in California covers.
There you go.
Oh.
All right, now we can eat cruffins. So
And this has been a really good wine.
I'm really glad you like it.
I
And
mean,
you've had
what
two
wine?
different kinds of wine.
A separate.
The first is the one that you brought up. The second is sea glass wine,
Different.
because the other one is I couldn't get to.
Because one of our producers is
One of our producers is about
blocking the fridge.
Frigidaire, and that one is in the Frigidaire. So I
One of our producers, our behind the scenes
I've
producers.
seen people that are like blowing whistles when we're bad.
Yeah, they're like,
They're like, hey,
time out.
That's-
You done time out. You done did it
you
wrong.
did it. Redo.
Ugh.
All right, so let me talk about the
They
cruffins.
look delicious and they smell.
They have a cream cheese icing.
I'll show.
But like I said, I bought store brand crescent rolls. They didn't roll out well, so I could not make them true to size. The one
These are in
on the
miniature.
website that we'll share with you, they look bigger. So I did what I could do with what I had, but I think they're still going to be really yummy. And I actually think the smaller ones are better because they are very sweet and decadent.
And there's less calories.
I don't know.
So we can eat more.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
important.
Yeah. Okay. Before we taste though,
And what's this thing called? What's that?
Charleston Fossil Adventures. That's the, you want to put it closer to the camera. There's that. And not everybody's going to be as lucky as me, but
As in, I wasn't.
I found that. Whoa, look, can you imagine the size of that shark? Oh my God, it's so big. It's so big.
So enormous. It's so gigantic.
So gigantic.
yeah.
So that, and then he,
Look at
for a small price, he'll sort everything for you. He does a little video to tell you
does.
exactly what you have. It's so worth
Captain Ashby. Look him up.
yeah.
Put him on your list when you're in Charleston because this is worth it.
Look him up.
Look
All
him
right,
up.
taste the cruffin.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stuck it in my pie
Stuff
hole.
it in your pie hole.
Ready?
Mm.
Well, I'm in all my mouth.
Mm-mm. That's really good, gang.
Oh my God,
That's a keeper.
girl, you can make me that any day you want.
I will not.
Oh, well, you can put the recipe.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, I'm swallowing.
Mm.
Let me wash it down with some wine.
We'll put the recipe in our show notes along with all of the other things we're putting in our
What
show
she
notes.
said.
If you want to email us, you can email us.
We have email
Murder.
no murder dot
Sugarcoated at gmail.com.
freaking hell is that?
Probably a piece of cinnamon roll or cork or I don't
It's
know.
blick.
It's good for you.
It's
Okay. Murder.sugarcoated at
At
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Send us an email.
We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just look for Sugar Murder. Just find us,
Yeah.
Sugar Murder.
Yeah.
And say hi. If you're listening, say hi. Send us an email. Killer Vanilla.
Oh.
Email us. We've had a little influx of people requesting Killer Vanilla.
Yes.
Very smart people.
They are really
Smart
good people.
individuals. We're still working on our book and our cookbook, so don't even ask. Don't ask.
It's very just, we can't talk about
We
it.
can't talk about it
It's
because
so
it
frustrating.
makes me emotional.
It makes me realize
And I'm out of wine.
I
so-
really cannot taboo in front of people, so I need to be nice. Let's see, what else? We've got that.
Well, I
that,
love
all
the
the
hell out of
things.
you.
Oh,
We just
God.
love y'all so much. We thank you for listening, for sticking with us. We have such a weird schedule right now. We don't know when we're going to record or not record. It's like, are we going to record tonight? No. I've had a really crappy day. Or
Breaking news.
what?
Breaking news. This was the last week of my 5 bullet points to big balls.
No, no, no. Bye-bye. Bye. Goodbye. To big ball. Yeah, thankfully. You're happy about that. That's good. That's good. I don't have anything else. Do
Okay,
you?
well, I mean,
Well, we do ask you to stay sweet and don't murder.
yeah, because if you kill people, we will talk about you.
And
And
we're
we're
gonna-
not gonna be nice.
We're not gonna be nice.
No.
And we're gonna be drunk.
We could very well
When we
be
do it,
drunk.
we're gonna be drunk.
Yep.
So, okay, guys.
That's all fine.
Peace out. We love you. Head on a swivel, guys. It's dangerous out there.
This has been Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a deliciously entertaining true crime podcast. Like what you heard? You can always explore past episodes by visiting sugarcoatedpod.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook fan page and share with friends. Thanks for listening to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast. This has been Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a deliciously entertaining true crime podcast. Like what you heard? You can always explore past episodes by visiting sugarcoatedpod.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook fan page and share with friends. Thanks for listening to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.